Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero of the Reich, Defender of the Fatherland, here to deliver unto your eyes and ears more delicious propaganda, a 1 versus 1 on Sturzdorf. Yes, indeed, we shall be seeing two forces clash for dominance. Fighting in the northern part shall be FFSgreenup, probably standing for Fluffy's sake, screen up. Fighting for the British, fighting for the 11th Armoured Division, for King and Country, tea and biscuits for the Union Jack. Opposing him shall be shoot, move, communicate, all in caps. So probably shouting it out, but I shall not because I don't want to hurt your ears. Fighting for the Panzer Elite with a dual Kettenkrat start, by the way, and he's already going scorched earth. Clearly this fellow likes his demolition. But he shall be fighting for the 12th SS Panzer Division Hitlerjugend, which, as some people might like to believe, was not actually composed of Hitlerjugend, but it was recruited. The recruits were mainly from it. There's a slight difference there. That is, not kids, but you know, the people had served in there largely.
I have secured the objective.
Of course, we are seeing a bit of pressure here, spreading out. Laying down booby traps, and of course note Kettenkrat booby traps are different from Panzer Grenadier booby traps. Kettenkrat booby traps do take longer to actually take off, and they don't do as much damage. They're more incendiary, whereas Panzer Grenadier booby traps react faster, and they also tend to sort of blow up more people. Of course, we're now seeing Panzer Grenadier arriving for the 12th SS. Also a fun thing to note, the difference between a Panzer Division and an SS Panzer Division, was generally any SS unit and a regular unit, was that the SS always had additional battalions. This for each, each regiment would have had one more battalion more. So a Panzer Division would have had 2 battalions more because a Panzer Division had 2 Panzer Grenadier regiments. A Panzer Grenadier Division, on the other hand, for example, would have had 3 battalions more. So those are some fun little details, you know, not the stuff you usually hear much about. But we are seeing Panzer Grenadiers heading out for the fatherland. Securing point, what could he be up to? He's already moving in here, that seems awfully bold. The British command, of course, going for the more orthodox start, you know, with a lieutenant and an infantry section. Reconnaissance section now heading westwards, and of course, note, setting up here on the high munitions point, again, not unusual. British players do like to set up there, but of course, in this case, it does also mean that he's going to be really focusing heavily on his infantry, and he might even be this sort of callous, boorish fellow that just blobs up. In which case, this should prove a bit interesting anyways, because again, Panzer Grenadier or Panzer Elite players can have a bit of trouble dealing with blobs, since they do lack heavy machine guns and other things that sort of, you know, really deal nicely with it. But it's not going to be impossible either. So Panzer Grenadiers moving about, hiding down here. What are their plans? Meine Herren, was sind ihre Planen? The British are heading eastwards. Looks like a 3rd infantry section arrives to join up with the rest, lads. Also note, there are, of course, E3s going on. We are seeing a few interviews out now. Some bringing out a few more details. Nothing huge, but I do hope we get an actual trailer soon. It's great to hear about all things like True Sight and so on, but I'd like to see it in action.
Panzer, we're losing a few people.
First engagement going on here. Infantry section, more specifically the reconnaissance chaps going on against the Panzer Grenadier section squad. Panzer Grenadiers have to be careful, they are outnumbered, and of course, dangerous thing that can happen is, if you go down to 1 man and you're fighting actual reconnaissance section, you could get sniped. But no, apparently the Panzer Grenadiers do actually manage to force them up with a bit of aid finally arriving from the others. Apparently they were a bit busy with the sauerkraut. But securing points. Lieutenant Lemming doing alright over in the east. And we are seeing a Panzer command going up for Shootmove, communicating. Not unusual to see, of course, that. Though, of course, as soon as the opponent might go for, say, a field support readiness to attack, things might be going less grand for the Panzer Grenadiers. But, of course, we'll find out. So far, though, they are holding out alright, in fact. Or the British are rather getting their hands on the high fuel point. Hiccup. And these Panzer Grenadiers definitely could use with coming back and getting reinforced. Getting cracked, coming under heavy fire. Get it out of there. Get it. Oh, don't move it closer to the Brits. Oh dear, Bren gun fire rather raking through that poor little thing. Not necessarily the best of moves. And of course repairing it. Great. Well again, get those chaps back. They need to be reinforced. Get up to full strength. They're not in a good fighting condition against Brits with a Bren gun. Be very careful against a Bren gun. It can really tear through a lot of Panzer Grenadiers quickly, in particular if they're trying to retreat. Taking in position in that building. Brits are pushing on. Another Kettencraft which has not been repaired. Oh dear. Coming under heavy Bren fire, and there we go. Out of control. Absolutely horrific. Not good at all. Brits push forwards for king and country. And we are seeing an assault rifle up. We're seeing also a forward post going up right there for the Panzer Grenadiers. Firing away from the building. Assault rifles will be moving in, but of course be careful about moving in towards such a large position, in particular with Bren guns. Automatics can really tear you through. Oh dear. Rather heavy damage, but looks like they might be making out of there alive. More assault rifles being pushed in. The Hitlerjugend going absolutely assault rifles nuts. And again getting gunned down, although they do manage to do a bit of damage. 10-1 section down to almost, well, in fact doing it down to one man. Forward barracks up, but there's no defensive operations to really help, and certainly with all those they have to reinforce. That's definitely not going to happen anytime soon either. Brits moving towards the east to take a few points there.
Supply lines are broken.
Moving forwards here, a bit of action left and right. And the armoured car advances with its auto cannon, hoping to conduct a little drive-by shooting, and there we go. Brits getting absolutely shattered, one crumpling down, screaming in pain, waiting for the medics to aid, but there shall be none. And if they're too far away, so he might as well be a none. Looks like he's already going for the Panzer Support Command. Not a bad idea, of course. I mean, if British can get a determined British player can reasonably quickly get a Stuart tank, and of course if he gets a Stuart tank, currently, I mean, there's not much shoot, move, communicate can do to actually stop it. So I mean, he's definitely going to need an anti-tank half-track first, or at least a temporary delay it, but looks like no, he's going for sappers with Piets, and again he's sort of clumping up things, which again is the sort of thing you have to be careful with. Panzer needs to retreat, Rückzug Männer. And the meanwhile the armoured car fires away a bit more, not really doing much damage. A further retreat for the 12th SS. Brits taking some minor losses.
Achtung, enemy forces are attacking our petrol depot.
Not really looking good for those, well, German chaps. I mean, the British are nicely dug in, and the armoured car is not really having much luck. And if the sappers get too close, that could be a bit of a problem. But we are seeing defensive operations up. That is nice to see. Not much else they're going on for the Panzer Elite. Anti-tank half-tank on the way. Armoured cars to be careful. We're seeing a second sapper squad moving up, or sapper section. More Piats in hand. Oh dear, armoured car getting pummeled with the rockets, or with the grenades. Get it out of there. Oh dear, he didn't move it. What bad luck. Note, the British player is about rank 13, so again, not exactly General Percival, I believe, the fellow who held Singapore against the Japanese and did a terrible job doing so. More attempt at booby trap, but of course be careful when the opponent is nearby. You are an easier target while doing so. Move! Get them out of there. Rückzug, Männer. Rückzug. Come on, just get them out of there. You can do it. I know it. Oh dear, Frapp's acting out a bit. We are seeing a Panzerjäger command upgrade. Could be, of course, we might be desiring to go for, say, something like a Panther battle group as soon as possible. Sort of provide the heavy anti-tank support. In which case, of course, the anti-tank half-tank is merely a stop-gap measure to essentially slow down any British armoured advances. But so far again it does look like the British player is investing most of the resources into infantry. Oh dear, very nasty that, and a good slowdown though from these Panzers. Could actually, no, never mind then. Opportunity is lost. Despite how many shots they fire at the British rears. And looks like he'll be losing another Kettenkrad. Absolutely brilliant, but let's go have a look at, for Fluffy's sake, green up. We are seeing a casual clearing station going up. That's going to be a nice move, but also, my goodness, I mean, 3 infantry sections and 2 sapper sections, and of course, he's blobbing up, which isn't necessarily what you want to see, in particular as the Panzer Fleet playing again. A bit of a dull tactical moment right here, not really the exciting thing, but of course then the question is, of course, how does the Panzer Fleet player deal with it? Hopefully not by blobbing up, because he'll probably lose against the Bren guns and all the other stuff. Looks like he is in fact going to be charging right at it. Oh dear, only 1 Panzer Grenadier down. You know, cover and Deckung Männer. And a full retreat from the Brits though, quite odd. Seeing as they were rather doing more of the damage. Instead, pulling back for a full heal up might have something to do with Lieutenant Lemming or his brother, Lieutenant Lemming.
Our front lines are collapsing.
So the 2 Lemming brothers. Panzer is moving up, securing some points. Booby trapping buildings randomly. Now again, I mean, clearly, I mean, a blobber rarely tends to use structures. I mean, it's less effective, to be honest. Had he been a bit more tactically astute, it might have worked, but I mean, I don't really think this is the filler to actually use structures, because again, that would, you know, require not to move about in a blob. Always fun when Fraps decides he wants to have a bloody lark at me. We are seeing the Brits are moving in. Assault rifle Panzer is moving out. Not quite fond of the situation at the moment. The status quo does not amuse them. How come? And I fear some parts might be lost due to me having to cut off bits, otherwise it's going to be too long. Lieutenant's though heavily damaged. Panzer is moving in. Brits getting shot up. And slowly getting pushed off. Excellent, excellent. Of course, fighting near the forward banks is definitely not to the advantage of the... Looks like a lieutenant went down, and again my apologies for any problems with Fraps. He just sometimes like to act like a complete and utter ass. And sadly there is nothing I can do to actually control it. It happens completely at random. I repeat, random.
Our supply lines are being...
Panzer is getting reinforced. Trying again. Hoping for stability, and let's just speed this up because this is going to be a pretty long game, and if I want to actually sort of be able to have no problems when I have to put it all together. Panzer is getting pushed away. Securing some points left and right. Pulling back towards once more towards the strong point, the Schwerpunkt, which means strong point. It's part of a German sort of methodology of, you know, deciding where the main effort should be, which was called the Schwerpunkt. Not really doing too well here. Might want to retreat. Rückzug. Too much fire. I mean, so many Bren guns and Piats. Clearly the building's not too satisfied either. It looks horrified at this blob. Just look at it. Teeth broken in. A few incendiary grenades perhaps could have helped here. No, don't move up into it. Don't move up into it. Oh dear. Though you might want to run into the building then and sort of try to hold up a last stand. Oh! No idea why he moved in the anti-tank half-track there. That clearly didn't work out too well for him. Panzer's getting shot up. Squat down. Booby traps going off left and right. and already taking heavy damage. I mean, you don't move in armor completely unsupported, in particular when you know there's that many Piats, and of course Bren guns to really make much more of a mess out of it. Heavy infantry losses for the 12th SS, not really doing too well. A bit of a slip up there, to put it mildly. Panthers are doing damage they can. We are seeing a sector totally getting called in.
We have territory out of supply.
No.
NCO's report to Lieutenant is
And looks like another lieutenant went down. Lieutenant Darling arrived at Tego, and we still have the captain, who's doing quite well, veterancy too even. Right, let's try this again after a nice little break. Hopefully, and a restart perhaps should be more malleable, and looks like it so far. Lots of damage. We are seeing Panthers now arriving from the Panzerabteilung or Regiment to assist. It's the 12th SS into fight against the Tommies. Brits, on the other hand, are in fact equipping themselves with more Piats, besides all the Bren guns, but of course there's also a bloody lot of artillery. Now the Brits have gone for the their own artillery doctrine as well, so there's really going to be quite the heavy exchange of high explosive munitions throughout this little small industrial area somewhere outside Caen. This is definitely going to get bloody. Panzer is trying to secure as much as possible, in fact holding most of the victory points. Of course there might be a chance of a VP victory right here. And the Iraqi lads are moving in. Panzer might want to sort of stop taking the point. And in fact they need to consider getting out of there. Retreat, Rückzug, Männer. Panthers could perhaps do with some repairs. Yes indeed, one of them is down to half health. But again, not a lot of infantry again has been lost to the blob due to, you know, charging into it madly beyond cover. And looks like Lieutenant Jenkins and Lieutenant Fleming joining up. These Panthers need to get out, and these Panthers need to retreat. Again, without sort of proper charge. Now just look at the British just moving in horrifically. And looks, although a recce squad was almost done, but again, I mean, poor positioning, considering he knew what was coming. Usually then you try sort of to keep things a bit further back with a good line retreat again. Clearly that was not part of it. Instead he's just basically been handing over veterancy to his opponent. And taking grim losses in the process. Not really strong in this case. This fellow's clearly showing the Jugend of him. And he's definitely not really communicating sort of thoughts of, you know, proper planning. Well, there's definitely some booby traps making things a bit harder for the Brits, but still, I mean, poor execution of plan right there. Poor execution of a defense. Still holding most of the map, so that's something. But he needs something to rather turn things around for him. Because currently he's down to barely anything. He's taking heavy losses. He's got a Panther. He's got quite a few dents. Definitely not going to be working out for him if he doesn't sort of manage to turn things around. And he can't use his sector artillery either right away, but of course if he could call in right now, it would do an awful lot of damage. And some of you might be inquiring, well, why, Dean? Why would it do an awful lot of damage? Because he's all clamped up like a blobbing fool. That tends to be what... Oh dear, he got an extra command point. That's what happens when you actually get your officers up to veterancy 3. Even a captain, in fact, gives you a resource bonus, in fact.
Down to 300 points.
Really nasty, that. So quite some veteran officers, and again, that's rather what happens when he just sort of throws men away. He just charges in panzer gun. It is across open ground. Not good at all. Panther just sort of blasting away, trying to do what it can to ease the pain. And the Brits are just sort of dug in, sipping tea and writing very rude jokes wherever they can. Panther moves in again. Careful, Panther. Panther goes moving up. And sector... Oh, goodness. That actually did quite a bit. In fact, it cleared out the section, if not two, because he's just gone down 2 sapper sections. He might even lose a lieutenant. Yes, indeed, lieutenant. There we go. That was the opening that Mr. Shootmove communicate needed. Now he just needs to take proper advantage of it.
Victory point under attack.
But in Mali, and looks, of course, he's quickly getting some replacement sappers. But in the meanwhile, Shootmove Communicate needs to move out. He needs to take some points. Booby trap, kill some more Brits, or at least makes it as hard as possible for the Brit commander to advance again. And priests are getting ready to deliver their sermons of Jerry hatred. Whoops, my apologies. And meanwhile, the Panther's still waiting around, hoping to get repaired again. And looks like we are seeing some assault grenadiers moving out to fight for the fatherland. Again, lots of assault rifles. He's really putting his trust into it quite excessively, which of course is something you have to be careful a bit too much. Also note, they're not just good up close, they're also good at medium ranges, you know, again, so don't just run them up. If you know can get to cover but just a bit farther away, it can also do quite well. The points being secured, Panzer Grenadiers moving up. That's at least nice. And of course the reason why he might be going for assault grenadiers rather than, you know, just panzer grenadiers with assault rifles and equipment that way is he's saving up munitions for the sector artillery, which rather seems to be his only ace up the sleeve, because again his opponent is an awful, god-awful blob in fact. So in that case something like sector artillery can work nicely. A mortar half-track could also, or a Panzer IV if handled properly with armoured skirts, or a Hotchkiss with rocket battery. Don't send in the Panther without infantry support. Infanterie Unterstützung, mein Herr. And in fact, it's time to have a look at shoot and move, communicate again, and let's just speed this up a bit. Again, it's going to be a bit of a long match, so I'd rather, you know, ensure I can actually sort of put it up without having to spend half an hour just trying to sort of get Windows Movie Maker to accept it all. And we are seeing increased squad size. We're seeing group seal in a sort of attempt to create his own blob. That's not going to work. Do show a bit of creativity. We're seeing artillery now getting called in, and of course a full retreat. A bit of veterancy action was achieved. That's nice. In the meanwhile, let's just speed this up. Booby traps going off. A lieutenant down. Extreme attrition amongst the officers here for the 11th Armoured. Definitely not doing too well. Booby traps. Recce section pushed off. No further units on the way at the moment, but there we go, another assault squad. The rest advancing. It's still blowing up. We are seeing an armoured command track up, and we are seeing kangaroos. Oh dear. In fact, oh, nice little trick there. He's disabling the point, essentially meaning, of course, the Brit has to come to him, and definitely going to be suffering a bit more in terms of victory points. That's definitely not a bad thing. And Recce section coming under a bit of light fire, and there we go. Sappers left with the thankless task of trying to repair that victory point and make it useful again.
Your capturing speed has increased. We must protect our munitions from enemy.
There we go. Assault grenadiers moving in. Panther providing flying support. Jolly good. One sniped, but the Brits did take quite the thrashing. Another booby trap, and looks like the kangaroos are getting ready to rumble forwards. The kangaroo basically just any sort of tank the British used, which they had removed the turret and, well, just used it as an armoured personnel carrier. It was mostly used as the ram, and there was also one based in the Stuart tank. Oh dear, and again buttoning up. Panther again without support. Getting absolutely hammered with Piat rounds. Definitely not looking good. Panzer's getting pushed away. Might even die. Now looks like very lucky Panzer Grenadier makes it out of there, but this Panther's definitely doomed. Apparently the sappers can't really get it, which of course gives Shoot, Move, Communicate more time to sort of formulate a counter-attack plan. Well, his Panzer Grenadiers are sneaking out. Here looks like a staghound moving up to sort of secure the left flank against infantry. Looks like the Panther finally went down, having heroically delayed the kangaroos as much as possible. And to take half-track on the way, although it might just be an idea to get some Panthers up.
We are losing ground.
No, he's actually retreating, giving more time for any sort of solution. And we are seeing oh my goodness! That's just one torn up Tommy squad. They're definitely not going to be returning home. So that was a bit nasty. Again, sector artillery really doing its work right here against the Brits, and certainly helping Shootmove communicate a lot more than his slightly unfortunate infantry tactics.
Grenadiers ready. Send your mission orders.
Panzer Grenadiers moving up through the brush. No response from the British, as of yet. They seem to sort of trying to take care of the damage, their bruised wounds and all that. So let's speed it up again. I mean, nothing's happening. Clearly the Brit commander's taking his time. I mean, his boots spit polished. Looks like a priest arrives, and not the ceremony kind, the sort of let's fire some 105mm howitzer shells at the opponent kind. And there we go, kangaroos are on the move, going straight for the base, although Panthers are close. Anti-tank half-tank moves in, could try and disable the engine, no such luck. Instead it's going to get knocked out pretty quickly. There we go, though, destroyed engine. That's going to help a bit. Flak firing away as well, and there we go, another immobilized. And the flak just firing away at the sides, actually doing quite a bit of damage. The kangaroo not having that thick rear armor to withstand the might of the flak feeling. Although the lieutenant is gaining quite a bit of veterancy. Panther, come on! Panzerkampfwagen 5, you need to save the day! Swiftly! And there we go. Brits are down. Veterancy for the flak feeling, in fact. Panthers are still have to be careful. There are still Piets in there and still some nasty lieutenant. Oh dear, Panzer Grenadier squad going down. And artillery enter the German base from the priest. Looks like the rest of the Brits are retreating with the veterancy 3 lieutenant. Booby traps going off, killing a few lieutenants, but still, well, sappers, I mean, not lieutenants. Not really doing much. That priest, and looks like the Staghound is still roaming about in the east with a 50 caliber now mounted on the top. A Panzer 8. Oh dear, that one's definitely not ready. That's going to need some swift repairs. Once more securing the central victory point. The captain a bit annoyed with that, moves in. Not that they can do much. Will there be an attempt at Victor target? That would be a good combination with any artillery, of course, since that means it can actually fight more than just that one time before it has a cooldown period. So again, in that sense, I mean, combining a captain with your artillery tends to be a pretty good move. Let's certainly recommend it, as it can do a lot of damage. I mean, just, you know, harass your opponent with a more artillery than he'd usually expect. And another priest gets called in. Definitely expecting to lay down some pretty heavy artillery. Another anti-tank half-tank on the way. Panzer Support Command getting repaired. And looks like the Panzer Grenadiers are ready to get moving again with support from the Panthers, I suppose. No, they're going to repair that. Oh, let's just speed it up. Nothing going to happen until then. My apologies. Rather the best I could find for today. Oh, Secretary again, almost getting that lieutenant, but I can note with a lot of the veterancy bonuses now after the latest patch, they actually gain quite a bit of health. I mean, immense defensive bonuses that actually make them much harder to kill. Oh, we are seeing Overwatch artillery against the central victory point. And more artillery. Oh dear, several Panzers go down, but now we are seeing Secretary against the Brits as well. Lots of artillery killing left and right. Very nasty, that. Airburst shells, regular shells. Probably no Dutch though, but still quite nasty. And I mean, the airburst is quite a lovely sight, but I mean, it's just that there's not so much usage of in the game besides for the Brits. I mean, it's not like the Brits only use it. I mean, the Germans used airburst shells just like also all armies. In fact, used rifle grenades. But again, apparently only the Brits right here use them. Another Staghound arriving for the Commonwealth. are the ones sort of holding the line there. Not really a strong position right here though for the Germans. They need up some infantry. Another Overwatch round. More of that lovely air burst. Will there be focused fire from the anti-tank half-tank? That could do a bit. And the Brits retreat again. Again, a bit caution. Both sides are a bit wary. Both sides sort of feeling they can't get away with it if they don't make any mistakes. And so both rather don't do much because, well, they don't want to make the mistakes. In particular, the Panzer League commander don't really want to go into a great engagement because, again, he will lose if he tries another sort of large engagement. And clearly he's learned it about now. He needs to sort of draw him into the sector artillery and hope to do the damage that way. Oh dear, these Panzer guys are taking heavy losses. 50 caliber and 37mm gun. Really tearing through those poor unfortunate lads. And the Panthers just sort of casually watching. A bit more harassment right there, lovely to see. And there we go, Panther moving in against the Staghound. And the priest could actually be attacked if he's so daft, but clearly he's a bit worried. And oh dear, one Panther squad went down to artillery, turned into a bloody pulp. Not a pretty sight.
Panzer forces are trying to secure our fuel.
At least central victory point is more and more in the hands of the Reich. Mines go off, so he's probably, you know, got the upgrade that allows him to take points faster and also spot mines. But interesting actually to see a Brit use mines. Most of them actually don't, but I mean it's not a bad idea though. And of course running into a Staghound, disabling the point instead. Definitely not a bad idea either. Definitely denying Brits the resources they could otherwise have used.
Down to 200 points.
But he needs to save that Panther again. Without infantry support, it could get ambushed. And there we go. Sabas with Pietz moving in. And Bren Gunners, get the Panther out of there, you fool. And there we go. Getting buttoned up. Sabas moving in. Hamming away with Piet rounds. But so far, not really penetrating. What an absolute moment of grace. As the Panther desperately tries to get out of there. And the British horde is on the move once more. Panther pulling out of there. Anti-tank half getting repaired. Come on, get some troops up to support. Sector 2 right here could be devastating. We are seeing a Hummel has arrived. Oh my goodness! 8 with 1 shot! Good going, Helmut! And Sector 2 to really make the retreat nasty as well. Well, that was definitely one hell of a shot right there. In fact, he's got 11 kills? Oh wait, he shot his... Oh! You don't run your men onto the path of your own artillery, you... Grr. There might be a ticket to the Eastern Front for you, even if you win this. And I'm not going to be putting you as a commander, but as a frontline soldier. So be careful.
Go on, sir.
Hummel moves forward, though. The heavier self-propelled artillery the Germans used with a 150mm howitzer. There was also the Vesper with the 105mm howitzer. But this one was sort of based on a Panzer III, Panzer IV chassis, sort of a mix of the two, sort of carry that heavy gun. There was also the Nashorn, which was equipped with the sort of same guns as the Jagd Panther and the King Tiger. But definitely not nearly as well armoured as either. Brits moving in for a bit of harassment in the western flank. Panzer guys moving up, hoping not to get hit by their own artillery. Or the British artillery. Which is definitely not very nice either. And looks like Fireflies are finally arriving, opting to get some armor to deal with some of that Hun armor. Bit more sector artillery, it seems, though. Priest singing the sermons of doom. Firefly arriving. Definitely very bloody, very heavy losses on both sides. And artillery against the British base, though he clearly doesn't quite know where it is. Oh, nice direct hit on the priest. That didn't do too much damage. And now we are seeing counter-artillery fire against the Hummel. Looks like though the Hummel will be getting out of there safely. And what is going on though? He doesn't seem to be doing much. Could he be hoping for another Hummel, some more heavy artillery to dig out those Brits? More booby traps, but lovely. Oh dear, Panther getting absolutely buttoned down, hammered, and exposing the rear. What are you doing? Don't shoot. And more artillery just hammering away. Heavy losses to the Brits, heavy losses to himself as he loses all of his armor, I fear. Looks like one Sabber got squished. Panther main gun destroyed. Don't think he will make it. Come on, Panther, you can do it.
We are losing a sector.
Looks like already Veterans 1 for the Hummel. Clearly he's hoping for another Panther battle group to lead his way out of the darkness. Lots of artillery. So come on, Panther battle group. All a bit quiet though. Again, that's also rather what happens when you blob up. You actually end up with several minutes where you don't do so much because again, you need all components. You can't just sort of shift troops in and out. Which again is rather problematic against an opponent who knows what he's doing, because then he can actually take advantage of it, and then you have to fight harder and harder, and you'll be losing more and more as you're slowly pushed back. So again, that's rather another problem with blobbing up. But again, and then there's also the essentially just gets so easily pushed back. It's in one sense, yes, it can allow you to present yourself with a strong punch, but it also allows you some really nasty weaknesses which can much more easily tie up your forces.
Battle groups are now available to enter. Germany is conceding a sector point to the Commonwealth.
Another Panther battle group. He's rushing it in on its own. What are you doing that? And again, without infantry support. He is firing the Hummel in support, but I'm not entirely sure that's going to go well. Because the Hummel can't hit. That's a problem with the Hummel. It's incredibly inaccurate at long ranges. And he's firing from one half of the map to the other end. I mean, he's only getting a few kills. So I fear he shall be losing his Panthers. Panthers trying to break out, but again without infantry support, I mean, they're just going to be going down. I mean, absolutely terrible by shoot, move, communicate. Definitely not good. And more artillery against the German base from British artillery. Even using the priest trying to protect the victory point with some 50 cal machine gun fire. But the actual artillery sorts out those Panzer Grenadiers. Looks like one Panther actually make it out of that absolutely bloody nightmare. Well, that's something, I suppose. Although extremely lucky. So all a bit quiet. Let's just hasten this up a bit again. Artillery against the British positions right here, not quite hitting anything. Looks like a Bergetiger has been called in. Point disabled, and the poor lieutenant is left to sort of repair put all the pieces together. Clearly high command does not like this particular lieutenant. Probably because he wears, I don't know, the wrong type of tie. And Bergtiger sets about repairing the Panthers. That's not a bad idea, actually, particularly since he's lost so many. German base, though, a pretty nice artillery target, and again rather shows why you should be careful about, you know, placing your buildings so you can reinforce at the edges. Going for the victory point over here. Oh dear, they're going to need to get out of there, getting assaulted by the Brit Horde. And I do mean Horde. Quick Zug, Männer. And looks like a... Oh dear, this area actually got hammered by artillery. He lost the Bergtiger. And the Panther before it was repaired. Oh dear. Quite tragic, that.
Kampfgruppe has proven its superiority once again.
Barely any Panzer Grenadiers left as well. I mean, pretty heavy losses. And again, not really what I would describe as being anything near good. Let's just speed this up a wee bit again. Another Bergetiger on the way. That's pretty rare. You could of course repair the first one. That would be clever. Then you could repair the other Panthers faster, put them up together as well. Well, the other Panther. You could still repair it faster. Whoa, this... He must have done some damage at some stage, because he's actually managed now 27 kills further. That's 9 kills all of a sudden. Hooray! I suppose would be an apt description. Hammering away here. Panthers moving out with anti-tank half-tank support. Come on, go for those Fireflies. Panthers advancing, British Horde moving in, and again he has fired the artillery, so he can't provide support. Oh dear. Could of course try and get another Hummel, and there we go. The priest is down. In the meanwhile, the Brits are advancing, counter-attacking. Artillery right into the midst of everything, half-track blown up. No additional Panzer Grenadiers on the way though, sadly. And he got that wrecked. Brilliant. At least try and repair that Bergetiger, I suppose. But his own armoured recovery vehicle adventure so far is doing pretty badly. So far he's gotten 2 Bergtigers and so far not a single recovered vehicle. That's not really good economy. Stack out sort of lolling about. Let's go return to, for Fluffy's sake, green up. More artillery right from the oh my goodness, the captain managed to victor target right there, knocking out the Panzer Grenadier squad in seconds, but then the captain got blasted to bits. Will there be replacement infantry? No, a replacement anti-tank half-track. He's down to 1 squad of Panzer Grenadiers. Hummel opening up. Got 1 Brit. Could be getting more if he hits those repairing. Doesn't look like it though, sadly. Looks like there is counter-artillery against the Hummel, but it can't hit. Which I suppose is a bit of a shame. What? There we go, direct hit, almost down. And second hit of the Hummel is kaput, brewed up. It could still be put together if the Bergtiger moves now. Attempting to booby trap the victory point, but the Brits are firing away madly. Looks like he is getting more infantry though. So just move up. Forwards men now. Panther button down. Come on. Oh, sector artillery gets a huge chunk out of the British forces. I'd say we probably look at about 10 Brits at the very least from that sector artillery. But he needs to get the Panther out of there. And he needs to put together that Hummel once more. And the Panther went down. Oh, the horror of war. Panther firing away. Oh, that's another Brit veteran free. In fact, that's always something. Oh, sector artillery finishes off the squad. Heavy losses to the 11th Armoured. Heavy losses all of a sudden. They're losing troops like flies. Panther trying to be put together once more. Hummel needs to be put together as well. He could still have repaired that Bergtiger first thing. Oh, he lost another Bergtiger. He lost another Bergtiger. Oh dear, he keeps losing so many. I mean, 2 Bergtigers, that's pretty weird for the 1 versus 1. Definitely both sides are not really doing too well. Panther and Bergtiger wrecked utterly. No refunds. More booby traps, and he's getting a 3rd Bergtiger. That's quite something. I mean, that's more than most armoured companies would have had. There's 1 armoured recovery vehicle. In fact, he's gotten 3. He really must be coming through all of the armoured companies then to sort of get recovery vehicles. Although realistically, again, the Bergtiger was not actually a armoured recovery vehicle, it was more of a demolition vehicle. The closest would have been the Berge Panther. But for some reason, Relic went with the Bergtiger, not entirely sure why. But Hummel is ready. And we're seeing an attempt at trenches. The Brits have lost their teeth and are now just trying to dig in. Their losses are too many, and they're definitely lacking in officers. Panzer's moving in, forcing the sappers away. But the Hummel is ready to fire, so come on, Feuer frei, mein Herr. Feuer frei. Panzer's getting hammered. Slaughtered, in fact, and just artillery firing away completely madly, but we're seeing another barrage from the Hummel. Right on here, he's finally hit it. And the Brits are getting utterly slaughtered in their own base. Oh dear. Finally finding home. 13 kills. Ow. That pretty much gutted the 11th Armoured Division. In fact, basically down to armour now. There's got practically no infantry. It's all dead. It's all turned into jam. Or Marmite, if you prefer that. Very bloody Marmite. Large chunks of Jim and Harold. Not really pretty. Trying to dig in once more near the victory point. Charging in. Panther leading the way. Artillery. And we are once more seeing a bit of Overwatch. Airburst shells, but this time they're not hitting. And oh dear, Firefly went down. Nothing to stop the Panther now. GG for Fluffy's sake, and there we go. Game over. A victory for the 12th SS, the Hitlerjugend, in the fight against the 11th Armoured Division, although with grotesque losses on both sides. Heavy artillery. Lots of men and armor wrecked. And of course, what can we learn from this? Well, for starters, don't blob up for heaven's sake. And again, also, you don't expect, if just equipping all your troops with assault rifles, it's not going to necessarily lead to victory. You need more, you need a combination, you need depth, you need combined arms. And you know, be careful with how you place your army. You know, ensure there's a place of retreat. I mean, otherwise that's just going to be knocked out, among other things. But again, don't blob up. Although I suppose if you're facing a blobbing Brita, Scorched Earth is going to help you a bit if you handle it properly. But again, I mean, don't blob up. Again, sort of spread out. So there you go. Do hope you enjoyed this game. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.